In today's video, I am just doing a quick, well, okay, maybe not quick, a flip through of a spiral bound journal, art journal that I just finished. And again, it took almost a year, about 11 months to complete. But I hope the takeaway from this is some pages I like, some pages I don't like. Some I've gone back multiple times to go over. Some I just like for the color, some I just like for the pattern and the design. So I guess my hope is, and my encouragement is, by showing you this, it's like not every page has to be perfect, and that if there's something that you like about a certain page, just leave it and then use it as a reference later and a jumping off point later to get you motivated or started. Oh, I can do that again, or I can do something similar to that again, or oh, remember to layer this paint over that paint. I like the look of that, or use this color instead of that color. So I think the hope is that you would just be kind of inspired to begin creating your own work, just keep going, and that not everything has to be a work of art that you're going to hang on your wall, that it is about experimenting, it is about practicing, it is about trying new things and seeing what happens. And the art journal is a perfect place to do that, because there should be no fear in it. There should be no fear around just doing whatever it is, using whatever colors you like and whatever mediums you like to create something that you like. As you'll see in here, oh my gosh, I didn't realize, but I've talked about this a lot, that I like ladders. Okay, hello, there's like 4 different ladders in this one, but I think that part of it is I don't work sequentially through my books. I just pick a page and start there and go there, and I work randomly, and a ladder is always going to come back. So there is some repetition, and you should start seeing those things in your own art that you're drawn to and that you come back to. So anyway, that's a little encouragement for the day. But here's what else I'm going to say is, I know some of you don't mind and you want to listen to my jibber jabber chit chat as I talk about and walk through the art journal with you page by page. But there's some of you who would prefer that, you don't prefer that. So just, if you don't prefer that, just click below. Playback speed. You can I can't even talk. You can change the speed from like what's going on right now, which is like 1.0. You can change it clear up to 2.0, and then you just skate right through. You can see the pages, and they'll be a lot faster. And you can also mute the volume so you do not have to hear my conversation, or you can hear it just in a very fast way. So I only say that because if you want to see the art journal, but you don't want the other part of it, feel free to do that, because I think that's a great idea and a great way to see it without having to waste, I don't know if waste, but without having to spend all that time watching it. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. When I first started using art journals about 10, 12 years ago, I only used the spiral bound, and like I have mentioned in other videos, I am actually starting to phase those out. I think I have one more spiral bound left. And so I just painted up the cover on this one. Actually, I put a piece of collage paper here, and then I painted over it white, and then I painted over it with a glaze, and then I put this word creative endeavor. But what I was going to say about using these spiral bound art journals was I used to have them numbered, so I could see in sequence the first one to the last one. But because I'm using like 7 different art journals now, I used to just use one art journal at a time, working that way. But now I work in so many different ones that it doesn't make sense to have them numbered. So I definitely put the date in. And again, it's funny because I always think it's going to take less than a year, because I'm currently working in my art journals a ton, especially with these videos. I work mostly in an art journal versus on Canvas or something like that. But just because it makes it easier on camera to show that. But this one actually took a year. I started it in 2023 and I finished it in 2024, almost, I think it was like 11 months. So, and anyway, so that's the beginning. That is, the first page I feel like I never use, and anyway, I dated it. So actually August, well, in about almost September, so almost 11 months. So close to it. So anyway, before I move on to the next page, well, I'll go ahead and turn it. What I want to mention is I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to try to be brief, but please, feel free to just put this on fast forward and watch, mute if you don't want to have the listen to me talk about the pages, because it does take a little bit, because there's like 60 pages or something. Okay, so to start with this page, it's interesting because I did some videos a while back on the jelly plate, and this was like an image transfer on the jelly plate, and I think there is a lot of interest in jelly plates. A lot of people use it. I don't use mine very often, and so I probably had no business making those videos, although I do like it, and I like this print, and then when I decided to glue it in here and then put some text along the bottom, but there was a big response to it, and a lot of you have these really fabulous people that you follow that do jelly plate, that are printing and are very astute at it, unlike myself. But needless to say, I always feel like, oh, I'm going to show you what whatever I'm doing, I'm going to show you here on camera. So anyway, that's what that was. So here is a kind of a portrait. She's a little bit scary looking, but I am really trying to get back to working on top of paper, layering it, and then having some of the text come through. My problem is I tend to overwork because I want a certain look in the face, and then what happens is then I lose the text underneath, which is what happened in this one. So, but you can see all the little pieces make the portrait look less, perfect is not the right word because I do not paint in a photorealistic way, but it gives it character, and it gives it immediately, it says there's going to be bumps and marks and things in here that are out of my control. And so it takes away, it gives me some freedom, I guess is what I want to say. So if you need a flat surface, go for it. But for me, starting with a really rough surface, whether it be a collage or heavy paint or something, it helps me. It takes the pressure off. It says it doesn't have to be perfect. You're not going to get it right anyway, no matter how much you try. So, all right. And this is just a figure. This art journal is for practicing, and it looks like I got a piece of paper in there. Do I love it? No, not necessarily, but it is. I was practicing figure. I was practicing trying to just do something without it being very well rendered, and practicing is what you got to do in order to get better at something. A lot of this journal is just this kind of thing. Either I'm cleaning off my paintbrush, or I'm practicing shapes and designs and patterns or colors or whatever. And as you can see, I'm really a big fan. I think it lends so much character to your paintings if you layer the color. So let's say you start with this blue. I can see hints of different colors coming through right here. It just adds a lot. So I would definitely, the more you layer, the richer I feel like the painting gets. And this is just, again, a portrait out of charcoal. You can see I probably need to spray it. Sometimes in an art journal, I don't really care, especially since I do not use the other side of the paper. And I do appreciate those of you who have made all the really great suggestions, turning the book around, doing it landscape, doing all these different things. It's not going to happen. I loved your tips, and I wish I could do that, but I've just decided I can't, because I haven't not. And that seems like a terrible reason not to do something, but that's kind of the reality. Anyway, sometimes I do like to just work in charcoal, just keep it super simple and just let the results land where they are. I do love working on vintage paper as well. Now here is something, a cup in very muted colors, kind of, old looking, grungy looking. I really like, not necessarily this one. Well, I like it, yeah, but it makes me think I should do something with cups and mugs and vessels and bowls. And I have in the past, I've done some really big paintings that way. But I like this. I like it, the color, the vibe of it. It's just something that I need to definitely do more of. This is a great reminder of that. Here's some color swatching. Here's another one. Clearly, what I'm guessing is using up paint from a prior project and then just going for it and doing all different kinds of designs and layering the paint and that kind of thing. And again, I'm almost 99% sure this was also a paintbrush cleaning, but I liked it so much I didn't want to go back over it. So here's what happens. A lot of times in my art journal, I'll just go back over pages over and over again, but I just never could bring myself to go over this page because I like the juxtaposition of the darker color and the lighter colors and colors that I wouldn't normally use. And anyway, I really like the color palette of this. And here's another one, which I typically would go back over. It's not necessarily my color palette, but what I'm learning is to let things sit and don't completely obliterate if there is an element to it that I like. And I like the colors in this. Obviously it's just a simple, design, but so it's good for me to leave these pages that there is something on them that I like, so I can go back and say, what is it? And in this case, it is the color palette.
So here's an interesting one. I'm a big fan of ladders, and I think I've talked about that a lot before. And I always think I'm not such a landscape person, but obviously we have a horizon line, we have a landscape, we have a ladder. I will say there is a little bit too much pink popping through for my taste. It feels a little too bright. I could definitely go over it with a glaze, and I probably should have. And then I think I would liked it if I had gone over with raw umber or black and just toned it down a little bit. And I actually have a video out about that if you are interested in, like you finish like this and you go, oh, I like it, but it's too bright. I have made a video about that. Okay, this is one that I'm kind of surprised I decided just to leave as well. It was just different collage papers that I put down, but I kind of liked it. I liked the colors. I liked just kind of how it all worked out. Probably, and again, not every single piece has to be a superstar, and so this is more about color palettes and collage than anything else. This is just, you know, again, and this might have been in a video, I'm not really sure, but just testing out different colors. I like a background. As you can see, it was just cool. This is another one, which I wouldn't normally consider using, which is this pink, but it works here. I often like this shape. Now, it is typically, that shape would be maybe a leaf shape, but in this particular case, and I had done this in other, very, very subtly in other paintings on canvas, more of a canoe type shape. And then I have kind of the lines in that maybe you would sit, there's rows of seating or something like that. So that's kind of my vision, even though you would never know that by looking at it. So, and yeah, the pink works here, even though I'm typically not drawn to that. Okay, nothing needs to be said, color swatching. This was a video I did on, I was testing all the different mediums that I had, and I can link that video below if you're interested in that. Here's another one. Again, like I say, I'm not a landscape person, but artist, but again, you can see a horizon line. But I went back in and put in pieces of book paper again, and I'm probably on repeat. I just really want my book paper, my vintage papers to really stand out a little bit more and to be more prominent versus just completely obliterated by paint. We'll see if that can happen. This is a video I did. I believe this was back, it's not a video, it's a page that I did, but I believe I did a video on it. I think it was in my 30 days of creativity back in April, just using all collage papers. It's a little busy. I think I would have, you know, now looking at it, I think I would have painted I would have muted down the background so it's not, there's just a lot going on. This is, I think, kind of a fun one. There's a lot of collage paper underneath, a lot of paint, and then these were collages, and I just went back in and added a hit of yellow, and I don't know, I just really like it. So it just kind of, these bold, kind of, I don't know if they're doorways or rocks or whatever they happen to be. It just kind of makes a fun composition. And again, I'm really drawn to this shape. I don't know why. I just do it over and over again. It feels kind of boring to me, but I can't stop myself. And I know that is true for a lot of us. We have our shapes that we make, the marks that we make, and that's just a part of who we are, whether, you know, whether we like it or not. Certainly we can push against that, but definitely this comes up a lot. This was another video that I did on just like take a marker and scribble down and then do a simple portrait over the top. When you just have 5 minutes, this is something to do. This is a large piece of collage I had, and it wouldn't fit anywhere, and I was going to throw it out, and I thought, nah, I'll just glue it in. And so it kind of reminds me of something underwater, you know, like, you know, I live in Seattle, and, you know, the ocean is right here, and there's all kinds of manner of different creatures and things undersea, and anyway, so that kind of reminded me of that. This is another one that I took a piece of collage that cut it out in the shape of like a pot or a bowl, and then decided to put some flowers in it. And obviously my flowers are super simple, and I don't know, I like them. I like the simplicity of it. This composition feels a little off to me, but again, we're practicing. Here's my loop-de-loos again, lots and lots of texture, lots of paint colors underneath. Again, another one just in a different way, with some little collage pieces around the edge. I think those are tea bags that have been dyed, well, their own tea. Another shape. You know, I'm just exploring, like, what do I like, what don't I like, what colors do I like? And this is kind of To me, this kind of looks like a bed of nails, and this is sitting on top of it. But you know, hey, it's just, again, practice. Another one of those collaged pots, and then some flowers. This is a little bit more intricate flower for me. I usually just do those little dots on top, but I like that there's layers and layers of paint, and that's all kind of popping through. This is very subtle. I do like the gray with this kind of, probably it's a burnt umber or burnt sienna with a gray. Like it, simple design. This I was probably, looks like maybe messing around with some kind of water soluble crayons or something like that. This is totally not something I would do very often. Again, here is another, what else can I say? Some kind of landscape, looks like mountains, sky, ground. And so as much as I say I don't do that, obviously I do. Here's just some text that I ran. I did it, I think, in ink, and then I took my color shaper or catalyst wedge and just scraped through it. And for whatever reason, I've always thought I was going to do something over the top of it, but I kind of like it. I don't know. There's something about it that I like. I like the imperfection. I like that you can read some of the words, but not all of the words. Here's another one with a ladder, very faint. I don't know if you can see it. Feels like there's just, again, a landscape kind of thing going on. Yeah, similar here. I'm not sure what the thought was, but sometimes I get ideas. I see things on Pinterest or in other places, and I like, oh, I want to try something similar to that. And this very well could have been that in that case. This one, again, this probably could have had more to it, you know, more, and I probably meant to, but again, it's just an example of shapes and colors. Okay, you're gonna say, wow, what happened here? Okay, I saw this kind of horse shape in a catalog, and it was like a little sculpture, and I was like, I wanna paint that, and for whatever reason, I was like, I'm gonna choose a color, a paint that the tube's almost empty, and it happened to be purple, and so I used purple to make this horse shape, and I think part of it is challenging myself, sometimes to use other colors, sometimes to do shapes and things that I wouldn't normally paint. I really enjoy all types of art, and I especially like kind of whimsical art, but that is not the art that I personally make, but I enjoy, and so sometimes I need to do something whimsical like this. Okay, color swatching. Another ladder, again, the big theme. I can see that I wrote into the paint and then painted over it with a lighter color. I like doing that. This is like a simple composition using collage papers. This also might have been part of my 30 days of creativity in April. Okay, here's another one of those quick sketch. Put a bunch of color down with marker and then use your charcoal in 5 minutes and 3 minutes or whatever and draw something. So here's another just mark with colors, exploring, figuring things out, patterns. Sorry, you guys, another ladder. Yeah, a different color palette, but yeah, it's all the same. Lots of tick marks, lots of texture, lots of, this is a favorite. Okay, this is a video that I just did on how to, that's the one I was talking about earlier, to dull down if something's super bright. This was really bright. It was bright yellow, bright blue, and bright pink. And then I used a wash to dull the colors down, and I like it. It's not really necessarily about the composition, although it's not bad. It's more about how to tone down your colors. This one has like some heavy duty fabric and lots of collage underneath. It's very simple, but I really like it. And again, it brings me back to, I like kind of this dark and gritty and muted, really neutral palette. I'm just super drawn to that. And this, I'm really happy. And just texture and fabric, all the things I want to use more of. It's a good reminder. Okay, this was an image transfer, and I had seen somebody do it, and it ended up, my image transfer did not end up the way that person's did, although it's fine, and this is a piece of my own art that I took a photo of and then printed out. I really like this art piece, but all this white was supposed to like magically disappear if you sprayed this stuff on it, which didn't happen for me. So either I did it wrong or I had the wrong stuff or something like that, but image transfers are really great, and it's another way to use your own art once you've already made it. Some more loop-de-loos. I do like this color palette, the green and a little bit of light pink or dark beige. This is, I've been, anytime I have a really bright color, I often like to start on a bright color because I like it to pop through. you can see little bits and pieces of it through this. So this was a bright color. All I did was a light wash over the top with like a beige, probably a Titan buff, and then use charcoal to just do a quick sketch over the top of that. I think this is kind of fun. It's just like, I was using up all these different shades of green and neutral colors, and I just kept painting over, when I was using up my paintbrush, it just kept mixing different colors. And I was like, oh, this is a really fun, something I don't know you could ever recreate, because it's just like so many colors. And you can even see random colors, oranges underneath, and just super fun. And here is just, obviously I was making squares and then painting multiple layers. And nothing I love more than just to paint over stuff over and over and over again. Okay, this one is, I would highly recommend this. This is a super easy project. You basically, I think I've painted probably 2 or 3 layers on here, and the last layer, so you know, you'd want a dark color underneath so that the dark color shows up, then a lighter color on top, and then etch into it with a simple design. And I think it's a fun result and a fun thing to do, and something very easy. You could do any shape, you could do words, you could do whatever you wanted. Okay, here's kind of an interesting thing. Again, this is just 2 figures, but I think what happened was I had collaged a bunch of stuff down, and as often is the case, I just kind of saw these figures evolve from this. And so this is totally not something I would normally do, but I think that this is another time where you just go with your gut and just see what happens. And this is the case for that. Very thick, lots and lots of paint, or maybe collage under there too. Here's another one. I was obviously on a roll with these pots and then flowers and lots of collage underneath, lots of layers of paint. Okay, this one, I remember looking back through here last week and was like, oh, I don't want to paint over this, even though I had considered, but I did collage a little number down here just to kind of add a little bit of interest, because I liked, even though it's kind of a grid shape, which is not maybe totally my normal, and maybe I would go over this a few more times with colors of paint, I kind of liked it. I liked the black and the brown with the hit of the yellow. Sometimes you just have to leave what you have. So here is another one. There is so much collage underneath, and I have left it, which is a miracle. You can see the text coming through. And then it looks like I went over this with black, and then maybe did some big shapes with, yeah, is it coming off? Maybe a soft pastel, or maybe even an oil pastel, I'm not really sure. A little bit of it is coming off. So I like this. Again, white, beige, brown, black, perfect. Okay, this is something, again, I had considered painting over it, but I like it. There's collage underneath. I kind of did a wash over the top, and then just did some, I wrote with a large paintbrush, just some words that came to mind that you can't actually read, but I liked the look of that, and so I decided to leave that too. Now here's something interesting. When I was peeling up the paint from my palette, I have these palettes that I have plastic and different ones, and you can peel, after the paint gets certain thickness, you can just peel the paint off. And when I peeled it off, the back side of it was this. And so I thought, I'm gonna put it, I just like the look of it, so I put it in, and honestly, I thought maybe I'd paint over it, but I kind of like the look of it. I like this crack that runs down the middle, and anyway, you know, you gotta try weird things. Okay, so here is another case of, I did a portrait over the top of a bright color. So then I just use my personal favorite colors, you know, black and gray and raw sienna and that, but you get hints of the pink and red underneath. And that is why I really like starting with a very bright color like a red or a pink or an orange, because or even a blue, because you will get pops of it coming through, and it just, I don't know, it just makes it very unique. Okay, so this is I don't know if you can even see it. This is fabric, this size. I then took a stencil and I stenciled a pattern on here, and then I did a color wash in brown, and I don't know how well you can see it, but I love the texture. I really wanted to try something and see how it turned out, and this is a perfect place to do it. And this paper is heavy enough, I mean, this is really heavy enough to take it. So use your art journal for anything and everything, like even fabric and stencils. And this is modeling paste, and going through it, through the stencil, so it's raised. Anyway, it's really fun. Okay, we're getting to the end. Okay, so another another landscape that I never do. This one, obviously, I had to dark color down, and then I went over it with a light color, and then just made some marks into it, which I think I really like. And then this also is another video that I made on doing a simple composition with vintage papers, and these are dyed papers too, vintage and dyed papers. And so anyway, I can link that below as well. So anyway, that's the end, and thanks so much for watching. I hope that you go out, inspires you to go and make art and just be creative in whatever way that you are creative, and just, I guess I'll quit babbling, but thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.